Alright, hi everyone. We are back for another Video Saturday review, and thought today I would take a look at the different media that I own of Friday the 13th Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan. Way back, probably a good 3 or 4 months ago now, I had done something similar to this with Friday the 13th Part 2 and also Part 5 A New Beginning. I just looked at every different type of media that I owned, and for Part 2 and Part 5, I actually had the CED discs, the RCA that RCA had released, and so those were kind of unique. And when I go over the other movies in the series, earlier ones, you'll see more of those CED discs. But what I have today are not as many discs or variations on media that I had with the previous ones. But still pretty interesting in their own right. If you look at the back here, I have the US Laserdisc release, and then this is also the Japanese release. I have the German VHS. This is the US VHS. This was the Deluxe Edition DVD that was just released in 2009. This is the Japanese VHS, and believe it or not, this is the beta version, US beta tape version. Now, I guess we'll start off with that one. If you look, if anyone has watched my videos before or was around when beta was popular, you'll know that the beta boxes were usually almost half the size. And actually, I'll bring over my one of my other beta tapes from Part 7, and if you put this here next to it, you'll notice how much smaller that is. And so it's kind of interesting that around 1989, 1990, that the companies realized that betas were being phased out. They weren't going to make them anymore. And so instead of making these special smaller boxes for the beta tapes, what they did is they used the VHS boxes, but on the inside they put a little insert in that would catch the beta tapes up around here. Since the beta tapes were smaller, they put a little insert in at the very top. And then they slapped a beta sticker on there, so that way you wouldn't be confused and when you went to the video store between the beta or VHS. And but yeah, there's the beta tape though, for Jason Takes Manhattan. Let's get the light, but that's it right there. And then of course, everyone knows what VHS tapes look like, but we'll still do a compare on them. So there's the two next to each other there. And the back of the boxes are the same. Standard one image on the back of the box. Now the back of my US VHS box is something I kind of hold near and dear to myself, because I got Kane Hodder to sign the back of this for me when I went to one of my few conventions I've ever gone to. Maybe like 3 years ago, I think I went to a convention, and he was really cool. He signed the back of my box, and so yeah, so that was really cool. It's one of the It's the only collectible I own that I actually have a signature on. The other signatures I have are on photos. So, but I thought I wanted to do that. But funny story about that day when I went, the guy in front of me wanted Kane to sign. I forget which figure it was, but it was a Freddy vs. Jason figure, and he wasn't really happy about that one, but he still signed it, which was pretty cool. Anywho, so the Japanese VHS, the back of the cover, or the back of the box, has a lot more images on it than just the standard one. And we've seen these before, except we have that awful makeup job on Jason's face they decided to put on the back of the box. Other than that, nothing too different, or anything that we can really read. So the German VHS cover right there is the same. The only difference with this one is some different photos. In fact, that one right there where Jason's grabbing on to that guy, I can't remember his name from the movie now, but that was never even in the film. That was shot differently because Jason never reaches out to grab the guy. He kind of just walks out from behind some kind of a storage, some kind of a bin or something. He just kind of walks out, and then the guy turns around and swings the axe at him. This photo was in a issue of Fangoria magazine back in the late 80s when they were still making this movie before it was released. And that same photo made it into that magazine, but it never ended up in the film. We know the rest of these. The really cool thing about this, the back of this German cover, is that it actually lists out some of the characters' names. And like they had, for instance, Julius, they actually have his last name here, Julius Gaw, G-A-W. And then they have Rennie Wickman, which they don't usually show Rennie's last name, but they showed it here, so it'd be pretty cool. One other thing I forgot, I did have another Part 8. I have the UK release of Part 8 on VHS, and of course this is one of the few covers that are actually very different from everything else. I think this is a pretty cheesy cover. I don't like it at all, but I got it because it's different, and when I collect memorabilia, I like to collect things that are different than anything else that's out there that hasn't been that we normally see. But the back is the exact same description as on the US VHS, with just a couple different images than you normally would have seen. And then the US Laserdisc, same front cover, and the back just has a few more images. We got Jason busting through there to get Julius to the phone booth. Cool story about that filming location where they filmed him busting through the phone booth glass. That one alley, they filmed not only that scene, but in a building right next to that phone booth is the rooftop scene where they were doing the boxing. And also that same alley is not only where they come out of the diner, which the diner is attached to that alley at the end of the movie, but that same alley is where they all get into the cop car, and then Jason leaves Julius's head in the car, and then they run him over. That's all in that same alley, that same little block. All that filming is done. So there's some trivia for you guys out there. Yep. So that's about it. And then the last thing, well, the deluxe DVD. I don't even know if I'm gonna go over it because you guys have seen that now. But the Japanese Laserdisc is really cool because it, well, there's a couple different reasons. And it's also an oddity amongst the Japanese Laserdisc collection. On the side here, and if you guys have watched my videos before, or if you're into collecting, you've seen this. This part on the side is called an obi strip, and those come on everything that's sold in retail. From what I gather from in Japan, but it comes right off, and if you look on the back, it has the different films that have already been released on Laserdisc. For the franchise. And my understanding, and I've said this before, is that these obi strips are attached to these as a way of keeping inventory. Again, I could be wrong. I read about it online. I've also been told that this is the truth, that these obi strips, once something is usually sold, they would take these strips off of the merchandise, and that's the way they would know what they'd have to reorder to restock inventory. And look at the back here. And the back is really cool. I like how they have the city in the background, and they have pretty much some of the similar images we've already seen on the back of the VHSs and whatnot. And of course, for people in the U.S., the Laserdisc titles are kind of comical. Not making fun of the Japanese or how they label them, but for the I guess the inventive description of the track for that side. I think my favorite one here is the Stone Asana. I don't know. I just think that's pretty cool. But anyways, so then they give all the different listings: the injector, the pipe, the drowning, the pump, the punch in Julius's head, Jason's voice, Jason's death, the drowning, and whatnot. So, this particular Laserdisc is an oddity, like I mentioned before, out of the whole set, because usually these come with inserts. And this is the only Laserdisc that when they produced this in Japan, that they didn't include an insert inside of it. So, but that's about it, guys. That's probably my long-winded version of these my collection. But yeah, so you have the U.S. Laserdisc, Japanese Laserdisc. You have the UK VHS. You have the German VHS, Japanese VHS, US VHS, US Beta. I didn't go over this, but we all know about this one. That's the deluxe edition DVD from 2009. So, alright, well that's it, guys. If you have any questions, leave some comments down there in the comments section, or shoot me an email. I think we'll go with admin@FridayThe13thFranchise.com. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.